G'day mates, how you doing? Time is 4:11 on the 2nd of February 2018. This is actually real time. I'm recording at 4:11. This is what Earth looks like right now. Real time. That's me. I'm heading into the afternoon. So, I thought I'd bring this back out because, number one, my fascination with space has not died out. And two, there's been a bunch of updates and really interesting things to explore that I thought I would share and nerd out all over the place right in front of all of you, because that's what I love doing. So here's Earth in all of its beauty and glory. The Americans, where they are fast asleep in their brightly lit cities, and as are the people in Europe, Russia, and Asia, and beyond. Some people down here too. They're kind of cool. Oh god, aren't we lucky to be alive? One in a cajillion chance of this blue ball actually working. Oh man. That's us. That's all your problems. That's all your aspirations. Isn't that something? I don't know about you, but that reality liberates me. It's like, hey, no matter what mistake I ever make, people are gonna forget about it because, well, look how tiny it is. It doesn't matter that much. Look. And now that's a dot in amongst many other dots. Anyway, I don't want to give you an existential crisis just yet. We have some things to explore. Yes. Apophis encounters Earth in 2029. This asteroid, which we are observing right now, is floating along. And on the 11th of April, 2029, this will make a record-breaking pass of Earth. I'm gonna try that again. This is going to miss Earth by just 18,000 miles. Where are we? Come on. That is very close. Oh, that's very close. Oh my god. Now, naturally, NASA's been studying the shite out of this, and they reckon it's not going to hit. Which is good, just as well, because this is heavy. It's a big one. If this were to hit Earth, they estimate it would strike Earth and create an explosion with the same force as 1,000 megatons of TNT. That's 1 billion tons. The largest nuke ever created, the Tsar bomb, was rated at 50 megatons. Now that was enormous, but it wasn't 1,000. Isn't that freaking terrifying? One of these little bad boys, and that's it. Everything we've ever known, gone. I mean, maybe Earth would recover. Even one like that, it might cause mass extinction for a very long time, but life would eventually probably find a way, just like with the dinosaurs. It'd just take a bloody long time. And that's it, isn't it? This beautiful little ball. Life's cruel. We gotta watch out for ourselves, you know? Otherwise, things like that's gonna hurt. I mean, luckily we've reached the point where we could theoretically try to push that thing away from us. You know, we could send things to go and land on it. Kind of Bruce Willis style and, you know, set a big-ass nuke off. That might work, although I don't know for sure. Anyway. Enough of the doomsday crap, we're gonna be fine. This thing is just gonna keep circling, and we should be okay. Hopefully. Only one way to find out. Onwards to the next thing I have to show you. The Cassini collision with Saturn on September 15th, 2017. I'm surprised I didn't cover this earlier, because this was a bit of a bittersweet moment for someone like me. You know, one who watches NASA's things very closely and, obsesses over them. This is the Cassini spacecraft. It had been orbiting Saturn for 12 years, probably about 9 years longer than it was supposed to. It had 2 mission extensions because they kept finding out amazing things about not only Saturn, but all of Saturn's moons as well. We know, for example, moons like Titan now have methane oceans and a very thick atmosphere and all that kind of stuff. And keeping in mind, this strange-looking device has been in orbit since 1997. Just over 20 years. It was almost out of fuel. Almost. They didn't want to crash this into these moons. They didn't want to disrupt the natural order of things. They didn't want to risk ruining anything. They just wanted to observe peacefully and then destroy this thing the best way they could. There was no way it was going to make it back to Earth. And so with what little fuel it had left, what little power it had left from its thermonuclear generator, they decided to plow it into Saturn's lifeless, gaseous, stormy body. Just a few months ago. And this is pretty much how it happened. And that's that. It just ate it up. Not before sending amazing amounts of data all the way back to Earth. Oh man, that would have been so emotional for the people who worked on it. 20 years. 12 of those circling around Saturn. So much info and data and so many things that went swimmingly. All of their predictions about where to fly it, where to point it, how to get it to Saturn as well. And then it was time for it to go. Just plow it into Saturn, watch it burn up in its atmosphere and just disintegrate itself. There's no life on Saturn, no fucking way. It's just made of storms. And it's way too cold as well. Let's see. Negative 183 degrees Celsius. No way. No way. I mean, if you watch my Dead Space series, you'll see the name Titan mentioned often. It's actually way out here. And yes, it's very cold, but it has a very thick atmosphere, dry, solid land underneath, which is very intriguing. I mean, I don't know whether or not 500 years from now we'll be able to terraform this to the point where we'll build cities on it and then have knobheads build markers on it, but time will tell. At the very least, we know plenty about everything about Saturn and its moons. Well done, NASA. Well fucking done. Earth at 50,000 degrees, as hot as a hyperstar. Earth, but tidally locked, meaning it spins at the same rate as it orbits the sun. I don't know whether I've done this experiment yet or not, however, it's really interesting. Okay, so over here, the water is very hot, Australia is pretty normal, the rest of the world over here, Africa for the first time in a very long time, is getting snow. Almost completely. Because it is in perpetual, everlasting darkness. And it continues. As all of the water on one side of the Earth freezes, and on the other side it's just a normal day in Australia. Now the average overall temperature isn't climbing, because if you take into account the frozen half and the boiling half, it's not too bad. However, now you have only a small strip, a ring around Earth that's habitable. One that's not frozen and not Australia. Let's speed her up. Antarctica is actually visible now, that's interesting. There is rock in there somewhere. Just somewhere. Antarctica is actually visible now. Thank goodness for our day. Otherwise this would happen and it wouldn't be that much fun. Nope. Ross 128 with Earth-sized planet. This, right here, is a fairly recent discovery. Now, what makes it so special? I hear your curious little minds asking. In November of last year, smart people, who are definitely not me, detected that Ross 128, a red dwarf out in the middle of nowhere, only 11 light years away from us, is actually being circled by an Earth-ish sized planet. And not only that, while the orbit might not be perfect, it is in the habitable zone of this star. Now, I'm still unsure as to whether or not they actually know the perfect orbit of this planet, but the fact that it's there is really, really interesting to me. Only being 11 light years away, this is a perfect candidate for the search of life beyond our own star. The thing is about red dwarfs as well, they don't give off too many harmful rays, even at close range. They're much, they call them quieter stars. They're not very hot, they're not very big, they're not very powerful. But scientists are still working on the specifics of this planet, and they have to use more big-ass telescopes to have a look and see whether their estimations about how this orbits, whether it's tidally locked and all these things, whether or not they're correct about it. I mean, there's a high chance that it could be tidally locked, sadly, because, well, it's really close to that star. I mean, it'd have to spin really, really quickly in order to avoid being tidally locked, especially with such a small radius. But the fact that these planets are there, in comparison to the rest of the universe, this is actually very close, only 11 light years. This isn't actually the closest exoplanet we've ever found. I think the closest is 4.2 light years away, but that has less of a chance, so I've heard, of having life on it. This so far is looking to be very, very promising. And that's just great. This music's making me cry. I've often just sat here for hours, just staring, even just at this, thinking about how billions of people are on this little rock, each one with stories and lives and individual experiences, and I've only met a handful of them, and a sizable chunk of them are interested in my work, which is really, really humbling. This fucking loser from Queensland, Australia. Life is precious. We are very lucky to have a planet just like this. Still, I mean, that planet out there that's 11 light years away, it looks like shit. In comparison, I'd rather stay here, to be honest. There's trees and stuff. God. I need to stop finishing these videos with corny messages that, you know, you've probably heard a million times, but pretty much what I'm trying to say is, thanks for joining me on my nerdy quest to mire at the entire universe before me. I hope that I haven't freaked you out too much at just how tiny we are, because, well, as much as I like to be honest with all of you, I don't want to be giving anybody any existential crises. Just in case you are feeling a little bit small, just ask yourself why. Isn't that great? Every fuck up you ever make will be forgotten about in the grand scheme of things. And also, all those people who tell you can't do the things that you can do, fuck them. Why do they have authority over what you can do? Hey? If you don't do what they say, what does it matter? In the grand scale of things, what does it matter? If at the end of the day all we have are our primitive monkey brains, then how about you use that monkey brain to be happy? Hey? Well, that's what I'm gonna do, so see you around, you tiny peoples.